Hi, welcome. Thanks for being here. I honestly thought I'd be able to do more of these readings from the road these past 2 weeks. I've been gone 2 weeks and 2 days, and it's been so, I don't know, just, I guess I haven't had a lot of time in camp that wasn't at night where things get real quiet and there's people around and bugs, mosquitoes. I thought I'd be doing a lot more at in the quiet of the evenings, but actually, long story about how each night played out, it just wasn't available. So I had kind of a couple days where I got to what I call putz around camp. I just love putzing around camp. Yeah, I've done hikes, I've gone off and explored, but what I love just as much, maybe it's a hair more, maybe if I had to compare, is just like a full day in a campsite. Because usually, with camping, it's like all the activities at night when you're coming back to camp from wherever, settling in, making dinner, getting around the campfire for a couple hours, and then it's like, oh, time for bed. Especially when a mosquito-y area, it's like, I'm gonna go into my little sanctuary, the tent, boop, where there aren't any bugs. And so, oh, pine cone just dropped. So I have today to putz around before I head back to Illinois. I plan to drive overnight. I'm a big fan of that. It's just there's something about nighttime driving it's more spacious, quiet. I can hear my thoughts. I can slow down my thoughts. In the daytime, I feel a lot also on the road, the beauty of the landscape. And then at night, it's kind of fun because it gets so dark out on rural roads that I'm like, I only see the silhouettes of things. Like, what kind of landscape is this? I don't know. It's mysterious. So there's a different kind of feelings that show up at nighttime driving. So I'm going to do that tonight. And usually I just pull over and kind of catnap along the way whenever I feel like, oh, that was a long blink. Time to pull over. I don't mess around anymore. It's too easy. And thank God for today's technology in cars where it starts to beep and vibrate if you hit a line, and that's a sign too. It's like, oh, okay, no messing around, getting off the road. And so I'll pull over and nap as I go. So I'm not worried. And so I thought, why not do a reading on my last putzing around camp day as a little takeaway from the vibes of camp. Now there are cars driving through. It's that time of day where checkout is now, so people have already really left camp who weren't staying another day. And then what I'm seeing are a lot of cars driving through. They'll drive through and leave, or they'll do 2 rounds trying to pick a spot, because all these campgrounds kind of go in loops, elongated loops. And so you might see me get a little distracted with the cars driving by. That's okay. So I picked up this beautiful new deck in Seattle when I visited my friend Jules. Ethereal Visions, Illuminated Tarot. I had never seen it before, and now wherever I go, if I peek into a metaphysical shop since then, just a couple times, I see this deck. Isn't that funny how that works? So I'm going to use these. And then I also have a hand-sewn bag. When I went to Costa Rica earlier this year, I sewed some bags. Ah! Spider! Did you want to be in there? There's all these different kinds of daddy long legs here. They're like mama short legs. I don't know what to call them. They're like a different version. It's shorter legs, a little bit smaller, and more agile. They move pretty quickly. When I woke up this morning, they were all over so that's the rain fly. This is on my tent, the outer fly cover for rain. Underneath that, the tent is all mesh, open, just mesh. Most of it is. So when I woke up this morning in the light, I could see just mama short legs everywhere and other kinds of bugs. I'm like, thank God for fine mesh. That's all I gotta say. And I don't think I would ever just sleep outdoors without protection because of all these orifices. can you imagine that in nighttime, like how many bugs get into our cranial cavity? Deep thoughts. Not pleasant. So anyway, I have another deck that I brought for clarifications. I also have a pocket oracle, the mystical shaman pocket oracle. So I thought we would just start by pulling a card that we'll just reveal and read at the end. And we'll start there. So thanks for being here. Thanks for coming along on my storytelling. I made a daytime campfire. Don't you love that? That's another thing you don't get to do when you go off and explore away from camp during the day. I love a morning campfire, and then I just keep stoking it as I make it last as long as it can last. I've got to do a whole video on the temperaments of campfires. They have personalities. I'm convinced it is a live energy. Live energy? What even is that? Is there a dead energy? I don't know. Just say things. There's a whole temperament. This morning's campfire was very willful and hungry. I'm like, dude, you're burning up you're eating all your food way too fast, and then you're throwing a temper tantrum. You like pulled back all your flames and went dormant when there's plenty of kindling there to eat up, but you didn't like being called out about how willful and hungry you are, and the fact that you went dormant again just shows how willful you are. You just proved my point. And it didn't like that, and then it sparked back up and started eating again. And I'm like, there's no reason for you to be different than a campfire who would like slowly lap up the bigger logs to like petrify them in a way that makes them burn longer, like from the inside, turn them into a coal, into its own furnace. But no, you just gotta gobble everything up and puke it out. So anyway, I do believe campfires have different personalities. This morning's was a willful little toddler. Okay, last story. Let's pull, this card wanted to come out. The Andean Cross. We'll read this at the end. Maybe this card deck is a little willful. All right. I think we'll just do it's sort of like, what's a collective energy that's wanting to be seen right now? Wanting to be contemplated? I like to wait for the ants to like make their way through. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about collective energy. These are willful cards this morning. I don't usually have all that happen. And ants. Like a collective energy that really wants to be recognized and seen and contemplated, that's for our collective benefit in some way. We have the Ten of Swords crossed by the Page of Cups. I'm sorry, I have got to reshuffle these because I did a reading where those two cards came out, and I feel like these are being a little willful also. It's like, I just like to anthropomorphize things because it helps. I mean, because really everything has an energy. If we just give it a voice, we might hear what it's saying. Is that better? Okay, same intention. What kind of spread do we want to do? I think we'll do few cards, but more contemplation versus a lot of cards with surface level contemplation. Does that sound good? We're gonna go short and deep. Okay, we have the Ace of Wands crossed by the Magician. Isn't that interesting? Literally, the Magician is holding a wand, a divinely inspired. This is so fascinating. I've never gotten these two together like this. So the Ace of Wands is this energy of inspired action toward a passion filled or passion-driven pursuit of something, like it's divinely inspired, meaning the divine lives within, like it's your intuition, or it's like this thing you've always wanted to do, like it's like you have a calling, you just may not know what it is. The magician is here to say, like, the magician energy is one of anchoring in the divine calling through intention and then actionable steps. So something here is saying, like, listen deeply and know that you have the power to manifest, is what a lot of people say with the magician. Yeah, but how does he manifest? He takes actionable steps. So he's more like, he's not just like a witch or a shaman. He's actually a real person in this world who is connected to the divine and knows that it takes action to play with the universe to bring things to fruition. Meaning the universe is sitting there like, you gonna do anything about that? Because I only help those who help themselves first. Like, take a step, prove to me you want to go on this journey, and I'm right there with you. I'll lay out the breadcrumbs, but you got to prove it, because I got all these other people doing stuff and I'm busy. Like, let's go. And so the magician is the one that's like, yeah, I know, and we're going. And then he's like, phew. So anyway, that's the vibe of, like, you have a calling, you have this inner voice that you're trying hard to listen to. This guy listens and then knows in some way what steps to take, or at least the first next step. Because the way the universe works is you only have to know the first step. Like, take a step in that direction. And the universe is like, oh, I see what you did there. And then it's like, illuminates the path so that you kind of know, oh, you're feeling it out, and you're like, that feels like the next step. Okay, great. You may not see the forest for the trees, or, you know, the end of the tunnel, or whatever. You may not even see the path. You just know, like, what feels good inside, like in my body, to do, and do it, and then pause, reflect, because that's you listening to your divine voice. So how do these play together? That's how. I wonder how the magician might detract from this. I think the magician maybe sometimes gets a little too, like, logical perhaps, or maybe tries to use too many tools. He has all the tools he needs, but he knows that his power is knowing which tool to use in which moment. Because he has the wand, the cup, the pentacle, the sword. Which tool do you use in the moment? You can't always, like, what's the saying? Like, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But is it the most effective tool for, like, screwing in a light bulb? No. So it's like that discernment is what this is calling for. Like, I have a lot of wisdom in me. What can I draw upon in any particular moment to keep stepping forward on my path, my chosen path? First of all, what is your chosen path? We may not see the whole path, so how do you even know to call it a path? I think it calls for us, like, if you feel that deep yearning that there's got to be more to life than this, that's what this reading's about. It's not for everybody. Not everybody feels that, and that's okay. But if you feel it, that's what this reading's about. Something's going to tell us a little bit more about maybe how this dance works. So let's keep going. I want to lay out like a story arc or something that sounds interesting to me. I always follow my curiosities. I've been like putzing around camp. I love it so much. It's my favorite thing. And I'm like, I feel like doing this now. I feel like sitting down and reading. I feel like making some marshmallows. I just made some pre-noon marshmallows. Can't do that every day. Or you can, I guess. It just feels more special when you don't do it every day, and then you get to do it, and you're like, yeah, I'm an adult eating marshmallows, like toasted campfire marshmallows before noon. And then I prepped like some iced tea for the road. I'll be on the road like 17 hours or something straight. And then I prepped some hot cocoa. Well, I sipped it, burnt my tongue, which is funny because it happens literally every time I make hot cocoa. Because I'm like, oh, I kind of want maybe some cocoa for the road. every time I burn my tongue. You'd think I'd know better. Nope. Okay, let's lay out a story that sounds interesting to us. Okay, we have the Queen of Wands. What's funny is when I said the witch earlier, this is the divine feminine, like the counterpart to the magician in a lot of ways. The magician being the divine masculine way to manifest. And this Queen of Wands, I was thinking of her when I said witch, which is hilarious. So there's something here about the way in which you're going to illuminate your path, because she has different qualities. I'm smiling because, like, what a perfect, like, it's like I love when things just keep reinforcing what this reading is really about, versus like, oh my God, there's too many different elements. How do we bring all these together? Because it's not like it's a wrong reading. It's just like there's more thinking about how these energies harmonize. So in this, like I said, this is about short and deep versus like broad and harmonizing. So anyway, Queen of Wands is here to say there's something about the Queen of Wands being maybe the more preferred way. If there was like a 51% and 49% of how you might manifest, the Queen of Wands is here to say this is maybe one of the most desirable ways for you. Those of you who are resonating with this reading, you won't know if you're resonating yet, but maybe you will by the end. And then because the magician is in the crossing energy, how might the divine masculine way of anchoring in our desires, our passions, pursuits, spirit-driven paths, how might the magician energy be challenging us? So there's a both and. Hi. And I'm back. I was somebody who came in looking for a campsite, was just trying to understand how to do it. So we chatted for a while. I said, you can have this site. I'm going to check. I mean, I'll be in his space for a few hours, but I paid for the night just to get a late checkout. So I'm like, if you don't mind just me being in the same space for a while, then it's all yours. So he might do that. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the sun descended on this part. It is very warm, but that's okay. We can keep going. So we have the Queen of Wands. So she is considered the Witch of Tarot, which is funny that I thought of her when I said the word witch earlier. I mean, I've heard other people refer to her the Witch of Tarot. I don't know if she's always called that, but she is the divine feminine manifester. So she does it in a different way. You know how the magician has his way that we talked about? The Queen of Wands has her way, which is through a deep, solid, just rooted, anchored, whatever, big sense of self-worth, belief in self. So there might be something here calling us into that energy, or having us call in that energy in order to like believe in ourselves enough to do the thing we've been called to do, or find out what it even is. Then we have the Page of Wands. There's so many wand energy. Like every card so far has had a wand. Have you been contemplating something big? Something like a passion, your life's purpose? The Page is a messenger to say, through curiosity, find out what that is. Curiosity is the key. And then we have the Six of Cups. Is there something to reflect on, to heal, for lack of a better word, to bring tenderness to, self-compassion? Feels like that sense of self-worth is tied up with this need for self-compassion and curiosity. Seems to be a theme lately for a lot of us. And then lastly, the Page of Swords. Interesting. Page of Swords has this enthusiasm for learning, for discovery. I don't know, but this feels like you're on your way to create the life you've been feeling bubble under the surface of your surface life up to this point. And there's like a real, like the other, so their energy is being called for here. Curiosity, the big one. Optimism. The Queen of Wands has her sense of self-worth in a it's rooted in optimism, hopefulness, well-being. She's not someone who ruminates on things gone wrong. Now the Six of Cups is telling us whatever's gone wrong that you've been ruminating on, it's calling for some tenderness and self-compassion. So let's set these cards aside. And man, it's so bright and hot right now. That's okay. I'm about ready to go get in the creek and bathe. That's what you do out in the wilderness. Bathe in the creek before I get in the car for 17 hours. Okay, so I have these beauties to clarify with. So you hear helicopters because they do helicopter tours of Mount Rushmore. I'm literally right outside Mount Rushmore. If you clear the trees, I could probably see their faces. 2 weeks ago when I drove through here, the Black Hills, and went by Mount Rushmore, it was raining and it looked like they were crying. It was so neat. It was like, oh, why so sad, guys? Oh, it's raining. So what I'd like to do is let's clarify the overall energy of the Ace of Wands challenged by the Magician and get some more nuance with that overall. We have the Ace of Wands again, you guys. Clarifying something and then we get the same thing. It's a big deal to me. Death. Ooh, Four of Wands. What's with all the wands? It's like, I had this phrase come into my head, shit or get off the pot kind of energy. I'm usually not so crude, but I have to say what comes in. It feels like with all this wand energy, passion, purpose, spirit, fire, action, excitement. It's like something's like, go for it. There's the Ace of Wands is that inspired piece of it, like the divine knowing. It's like third eye opening, kind of divine knowing of what it is. And if you don't know what it is, it's saying now's the time to contemplate that, because anchoring into your intuition, healing that stuff with self-compassion might be an opening to learning what that is, or really if there's been a few things, like really getting clarity. Death is the transformation card. There's a complete rebirth happening. It's huge. It's right here at the center of the clarification. And then the Four of Wands is all this happiness rooted in stability. Like it's whatever this is leading to your sense of self rooted in happiness. I think that's that optimism. So let's keep going. Let's clarify. You know, I'm not going to clarify every card. I'm going to set an intention. I'm really curious about the Six of Cups, Page of Swords. Like, I'm really curious about the Six of Cups because everything else seems pretty straightforward. Oh, that's funny. We got the Six of Wands popping out. It's like sixes and wands. And that was like success, victory, like stepping into your authenticity. So I guess that's what that Six of Cups is about. So it's like, I'm kind of curious about, only you will know what needs to be healed through self-compassion in order to build up that sense of self-worth, in order to get on the path of that self-realization, right? Of manifesting, if you want to use modern lingo. So what is it? Everybody's driving through trying to find a campsite. So what is it? You have the Eight of Cups, the Nine of Wands, and the Three of Swords. So, what is it? There's something that's been weighing on your heart. Like this Three of Swords is usually like heartbreak, but it doesn't have to be a relationship. What has really been, and maybe that's why the Six of Cups called for such a tenderness. It's like you're healing something of the heart, like a heart woundedness. And it could be that sense of self. When did that first get diminished? When did you first feel like that unworthiness come in? Feel into that. Cry the cries. It might be an opening. The Nine of Wands is like, I think what's being called for here is feeling into a sense of gratitude for all that you do have. Both can be true. You can have both and, like a both exploration to heal something, while at the same time feeling into a gratitude that I'm okay. Actually, there's no problem here. Can you hold both of those things as truths and move forward versus become at a standstill? Because the Eight of Cups is here saying you're not settling for anything less than self-actualization and healing whatever that is that needs to be healed so you can move forward into the life you're meant to live. I know a lot of tarot readings are about that, but that's okay. This is the nuance of this, is like self-compassion to heal the self-worth, to be able to get on your path. So I'm going to go because there are campers here that I'm going to help get settled. And the Andean cross, I guess I do want to read that first. I said I would. I'm gonna. The essence. The Andean cross represents the cosmology of the shaman. It depicts the four cardinal directions, the upper and lower worlds, and the steps to reach these realms. The hole in the center is a gateway to interdimensional travel, the proverbial eye of the needle we can all go through to experience higher states of awareness and wisdom and to break free of linear time. The invitation. The Andean cross announces the start to a great journey. It's time to raise your gaze from the mundane day-to-day to that which, until now, has seemed beyond your grasp. What's that thing? Allow new wisdom to guide you and stop trying to make sense of it all before you respond with a resounding yes. It's got to be felt. You got all this wand energy here. It's not a mind thing. The medicine. The time has passed and the window of opportunity is closed. Now is not the moment to take that leap you've been over-preparing for. It is best to wait until conditions in heaven line up again to offer you a more propitious moment. Any bold action you take now will require tremendous effort on your part. Just as important as knowing when to act is knowing when to return to your inner stillness and wait for more favorable times. So take what resonates. And again, thank you for being here in the mountains with me.